Good morning, students. Welcome to our e-learning class. This is your second period and the subject is economics. Hope my all students of commerce group and humanities group are observing and listening to this video. Students, in the previous day, we have done the revision of, that is, Unit 2, Money and Banking. Today, in this video, through this recorded video, we are going to start, or I am going to start, a new unit as per the revised and updated syllabus given by CBSE, that is Unit 4, and the Unit 4 with the title is Government, Budget and the Economy. Government, Budget and the Economy. So this is the unit which we are going to read through this video, or you are going to read through this video. Friends, in this unit, the following topics we need to cover. The following topics are been covered in this unit, which you need to go through. You have to read for final assessment or for board examinations. The topics are, first one, government budget, its meaning, its objectives and its components. Government budget, its meaning, its objectives and the components of budget. Next, you are also going to read the classification of receipts. The classification of receipts. In this classification, you are going to read two receipts, namely revenue receipts and capital receipts. Revenue receipts and capital receipts, both you are going to read, and the difference also you are going to read. What is the difference between revenue receipts and capital receipts? Next, classification of expenditure. Classification of expenditure. Here again, expenditure is classified into again two types, that is revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. So expenditure, two, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure, and difference between both of them. Next, final one, measures of government deficit. Measures of government deficit. Actually, what is meant by deficit budget? First of all, you have to learn that concept. What do you mean by deficit budget or budget deficit? So after knowing the meaning, the explanation on that concept, then it will come. There are four types of deficits in budget. Four types of deficits in budget. Namely, first one is here revenue deficit. Revenue deficit. Second one, fiscal deficit. Next one, primary deficit. At the same time, the last one is a deficit budget that comes under budgetary deficit, primary deficit, fiscal deficit and revenue deficit. So all these deficits are covered under budget deficit. So these are the topics which you are going to read in this unit. Today, I am taking up the first topic, that is government budget, its meaning, its objectives and its components. Clear, students? Now, so before beginning, what is meant by budget or what is the meaning of budget? First of all, I'll start the chapter with one proverb, one quotation. Listen, students, carefully. Cut your coat according to your cloth. Cut your cloth according to your cloth. This is a proverb, English proverb, famous English proverb. Cut your coat according to your cloth. That means according to your revenue, your income, your source of income, you have to do the expenditure. According to your source of income, that how much income you are getting, based on that one, you have to plan for your expenditure. Okay, so that is the literary meaning of cut your coat according to your cloth. As according to the income received, according to the revenue received, you have to plan the expenditure accordingly. Suppose you are receiving less income and you are planning more expenditure, it is impossible. Suppose you are getting more income and you are doing less expenditure, that will be safe because you can save certain amount of money. But the thing is, when the income is less and the expenditure is more, then it will be very difficult to you to manage the situation, the condition. Every household, every family, every firm, they are planning the budget. They are planning their incomes, their revenues, how much cost they have to incur and how much income they can generate, revenue they can generate. So every family, every household, every firm, they are planning that how much cost they have to incur against how much revenue they can generate. So simply to say, every family, they are preparing the budget. That is called household budget, family budget. For example, your father or mother or both, suppose they are earning 50,000 per month. Suppose they are earning 50,000 per month. This is the only source of income for your family, that 50,000 rupees. No other sources. You are not getting any rents from your, suppose you are not having any buildings, so you can't get any rents. You are not doing any other business. Only through job, through service, your father is earning 50,000 per month. So this 50,000, your father or your mother, they will plan in such a manner that they should meet all their needs, their daily needs, their daily expenses, and if possible, they'll try to save certain amount in banks. They'll plan. Sometimes what happens, the income which is earned by your father, that is 50,000, sometimes it becomes less than what expenditure you have made. Suppose suddenly in your family, a member got fever, so medical expenses increased. So already you have planned for the expenditure within the 50,000. Suddenly again 30, 40, 1 lakh rupees expenditure, additional expenditure came through medical side. Then how will you meet the expenditure? It is very difficult. Then what you will do? You have to, take money from your friends, your family friends, relatives, etc., etc., or loan from the bank or through mortgage, etc. So generally, your budget means you have to find out what are the sources of income through service, through rent, through other means of revenue, all you have to plan. And what are the fields through which you are doing the expenditure. So this planning is called budget. That too if it is in written form, not oral, verbal. Suppose your planning of receipts and expenditure is in the form of a written statement. It's in the form of a written statement, then it is called what? Budget. So every family, every firm, they're, planning their budget. So what is said here? Every family or innumerable families, they're preparing their family budget for every month or every month. Some families, they're preparing the budget for per week, per month, per year, like that. And they're ruling their houses. Similarly, the firms too, take care of their costs, it incurring against revenue generated. How much? Every firm, they will take care that how much costs they are incurring against how much revenue they are being generated. Okay, that means every firm, they plan their expenditure and their income, source of income, expenditure and income. So I can say the budget is a written statement of expected incomes and expenditure. Expected incomes and expenditure, if it is in the form of written statement, written document, that can be simply termed as what? Budget. Understood, students? No. However, this is not the case with the government of a country. This is not the case with the government of the country. Okay, just like family, just like firms, even countries also plan their budgets. But here, there's a lot of difference between a family budget and a country's budget. The format is same, but it is smaller, it is what? Larger. So every country also prepares budget, but it is somewhat different from the family budget. Okay, so however, this is not the case with the government of a country when it comes to management of economic activities. Number of economic activities are carried within the country during a year. Production, distribution, consumption, expenditure, all these are activities, economic activities which generates some income, some profits. So these economic activities are carried within the country every year. Now my question is, who is going to monitor all these economic activities? Naturally, you will say government. So all those economic activities which are being carried within the country by the government are monitored by the government itself. Distribution in the country, consumption in the country, expenditure in the country. Okay, all this production in the country, all these are economic activities are monitored by the government. Okay, and in monitoring that activities, the government has to plan for its budget. So every country, not only India, every country in the world, they are planning their budget for monitoring all those economic activities which they carried for the welfare of the people, welfare of the country, for economic growth, economic development, etc. There are three vital components, or I can say there are three vital subcomponents, okay, of this budget policy or fiscal policy. Students, I'm using the word fiscal. Here fiscal means what? Money. Fiscal policy, F-I-S-C-A-L, fiscal policy, money policy. So there are three vital subcomponents or instruments of the fiscal policy. Public revenue. Here public revenue means what? Whatever revenue the government is receiving from the public in the form of taxes, in the form of fines, in the form of penalties, or by sale of assets, by selling the assets through exports. Okay, all these things. So first is what? Public revenue. Revenue that is collected or received from the public in different forms. Next one, public expenditure. How much the government is spending on various activities, on various economic activities, on welfare schemes. That is called public expenditure. Third one, public debt. Debt means what? Debited, credited, debt. Public debt. So public revenue, public expenditure and public debt. All three are the subcomponents or instruments of fiscal policy. All these instruments of fiscal policy operate simultaneously. All are operated together at a time. Here public revenue, public expenditure, public debt, all three instruments or components, sub-components of fiscal policy are operated simultaneously. Change in the public revenue, or change in the public revenue or change in the expenditure and debt complemented each other. Suppose if the public revenue is less, naturally the expenditure also will decrease. Okay, when revenue will be less, then the public debt will increase. When public revenue is less, then ultimately the public expenditure also will be less. When public income is less, naturally the government debts will be increased. So all the three are linked with each other, related to each other. Okay. So all these instruments, all these sub-components of fiscal policy, when coupled together into one, then it is known as what? Government budget. That's called government budget. Now I am telling you the meaning of government budget. Now listen carefully. The meaning of government budget. Budget is an annual statement, annual financial statement, I can say. Budget is an annual financial statement showing the estimated receipts. Yeah, receipts means what? Revenue. Receipts means what? Revenue. So budget is an annual statement, annual financial statement. Budget is an annual financial statement showing estimated receipts in bracket revenue and expenditure of the government. Once again I repeat, budget is defined as a written annual statement or a written document. Budget is a written annual statement of showing the estimated receipts and expenditure of the government for a financial year. All modern governments in various countries, they introduce to the legislature an annual budget every year for its approval. That means every country they prepares the budget. Now after preparing the budget, this budget will be presented in the legislature. In our country India, Parliament is the legislature. In that Parliament, first lower house, that is Lok Sabha. Okay, in that Lok Sabha, this budget will be presented. Why? For its approval. After the approval, it will be again sent back to the upper house, Rajya Sabha. There also it needs to be approved. Okay, so every government, they present their annual budget statement in front of the legislature for its approval. Clear, students? Now, the budget, who prepares the budget? This is the question. Who prepares the budget? Every department minister, agriculture minister, industrial minister, that minister, this minister, every minister of their concerned portfolio means their concerned departments, they prepare the budget with the help of their officials. And all the department budgets will be sent to the Union Finance Minister. Here union means what? Central Finance Minister. And the Central Finance Minister will combine all those things, and then he will prepare a compiled one, and that compiled one he will carry that record, the sheets with that estimated statement document he will carry, and he will present in the Lok Sabha, legislature for its approval. So the question is, who prepares the budget? First one. Budget is prepared by the Ministry of Finance. Budget is prepared by the Ministry of Finance of all departments. The Ministry of Finance, they will prepare, the officials of Ministry of Finance. The officials of Ministry of Finance, they will prepare in return the budgets of all departments by consulting the concerned minister of that particular department. So after preparing that one, that budget, that document will be taken by Union Finance Minister. He is the head of that Ministry of Finance. He is head of the Ministry of Finance. He will take the document and he will present in the Lok Sabha for its approval. Every year, the budget is presented in the month of March. And after approval, that new budget will be come into effect from April 1st onwards. This is the trend till for a long period. But recently this BJP government have made some modifications. They are presenting the budget in the month of Feb before February 20th. If leap year 29th, in the month of February. Okay, they changed that one. Clear? But the effect of the budget will come from April 1st only. Though they are preparing the budget in advance in the month of February, but it will be enacted, it will come into effect from April 1st. Now, one important thing. I told you Ministry of Finance will prepare the budget for all ministries together of all the departments. The Ministry of Finance, the officials will prepare the budget for all departments in the country except that railway department. Generally, for a long period, railway department budget is prepared separately by the Union Railway Minister. All other departments will be prepared by Ministry of Finance. Railway budget also will be prepared by Ministry of Finance. But the presenting the budget in the Lok Sabha, presenting the budget in the legislature, country's legislature will be done by Union Railway Minister for only railway department. Remaining all other departments, the budget will be presented by Union Finance Minister. But this also, the present government, BJP government, they are, actually both budgets, railway budget and the general budget. Railway budget and general budget, both are presented separately with a span of gap. Actually, as far as my concern, earlier, first railway budget was presented in the month of Feb. Earlier, railway budget was presented in the month of Feb and the general budget in the month of March. But nowadays, what I am observing, the both budgets are, introduced together. Both budgets are introduced together to save time. But anyhow, the effect of the budget will come from April 1st. Now students, financial year means you should remember from March till next year April. From the month of March till next year April. That is called one financial year. Now, unless the Lok Sabha, the legislature will not give the approval of budget, the budget will not be, come into effect. Okay, the budget will not be come into effect. So there will be thorough discussion between the ruling party, opposition party, the party members, the ministries, when the budget is presented in the Lok Sabha. After thorough discussion, it will be approved. Okay. Now, sometimes a vote on account budget, vote on account budget is presented by the government when it is not possible to present the full budget. I repeat, sometimes a vote on account budget is presented by the government when it is not possible to present the full budget. It is an interim budget. Vote on account budget is an interim. Interim is what? Meanwhile. Interim budget for a few months, which will facilitate the government to incur expenditure and pending approval of the regular budget. Now coming to objectives. Next topic, objectives. What are the objectives of budget? What are the objectives of budget? Listen students. The main purpose here means main objective. The main objective of the budget is to obtain approval of the legislature for the tax proposals and allocation of resources to various government activities. I repeat once again. What is the main objective of budget? What is the main objectives of budget? The main purpose, the main objective of budget is to obtain approval, to get approval of the legislature, of the parliament for the tax proposals, and the allocation of resources to various economic activities in the country. In order to get the approval from the legislature, in order to obtain the approval from the legislature, and to impose the taxes, that is the tax proposals, and allocation of resources to various economic activities in the country. For this purpose, budget has to be prepared. Government utilizes this occasion, this time, this period, this event. Government utilizes this occasion to state its policies and programs also. Sometimes, when the government is presented in the Lok Sabha for its approval, at the same time, the ruling party, the ruling government also utilizes this occasion, this event, this time, this period, the day, to state its policies and programs, to state the government policies and programs also. Okay, now here I am going in detail about the objectives of government budget. Listen, some subheadings are there, students, listen carefully. The important objectives or aims or targets of a government budget can be summarized with the following subheadings. Number one, mobilizing. Here mobilizing means what? Movement. Mobilizing and marshalling the resources. Just now I told you now. In allocation of resources, in mobilizing of resources for all economic activities in the country. That is the first objective. The first objective of the budget is in mobilizing the resources or in allocation of resources for all economic activities in the country. Second one, to ensure economic growth. To budget only, it depends upon, a country's growth, a country's economic growth always depends upon the budget policies. So it ensures, the budget of a country ensures economic growth. It always ensuring the economic growth. Third one, bringing balanced growth. Budget always brings balanced growth because you are allocating the funds, the money in various fields, where whichever field is needs the financial support. They'll balance. Suppose this year they spend more money in industries, so next year they'll spend more money in some other sector like this. They'll balance. So balancing economic growth. Fourth one, removing inequalities in income distribution. Budget helps in removing the inequalities in income distribution. Okay, next one, fifth point, that is persistent price stability. Budget helps in what? Bringing the price stability in the country. Persistent price stability. Next one, the last one, that is creating employment opportunities. Creating employment opportunities. So these are the 6 objectives of government budget in any country. So in your books, in textbook or some reference books, there may be more objectives, but these 6 are the main. I repeat once again, the following are important objectives, aims or targets of a government budget. Number 1, mobilizing and marshalling. Marshalling means what? Going and coming. Mobilizing and marshalling of the resources in the country for all economic activities. That means what is said here? In modern times, the responsibilities and functions of a government have been gradually increasing as the areas of activity are expanding continuously. It requires more and more finance as the corresponding expenditures are moving northwards, up. The government has to generate more revenue. The government has to generate more revenue, okay, through greater collection of taxes. I mean, by imposing more taxes, by collecting more taxes, the government has to increase its source of revenue. Why? To meet the expenditure, to allocate the resources for various economic activities. Okay, so government is collecting taxes through various forms. Some are direct taxes, some are indirect taxes, which will lead further. Okay. Similarly, direct indirect taxes and some income government is also collecting through non-tax. Income is collected by the government in the form of taxes, agreed. Taxes are classified into direct tax. Taxes are divided into two types: direct tax, indirect tax. Apart from that one, government also collecting some revenue through non-tax. I mean, without imposing tax. That's called non-tax revenue. That revenue which is generated, which is collected through not through taxes. That's called non-tax revenue. So non-tax revenue, and through increased savings. Through savings also we can generate increased saving. Who is saving money? Household people. Where they are saving? In the banks. So through savings, through non-tax revenue, through tax revenue, government is generating what? Income. Different fiscal policy measurements or instruments like taxation, subsidies, loan schemes, etc. may be used in a manner that they enable the government to collect more revenue. Now, second one, ensuring economic growth. Ensuring economic growth. Economic growth implies a sustained increase in real GDP. What is economic growth means actually? What does economic growth actually means? Economic growth implies a sustained increase in real GDP of an economy. Increase in real GDP of an economy is nothing but called economic growth. That implies an increase in the volume of, volume is amount, the volume of goods and services produced in the economy. Whenever the goods and services in the economy are produced more in number, that means there will be increase in the GDP. Suppose in our country, all the final goods and services which are produced in the country, if their quantity is increased, naturally the country's GDP also will increase. So when these two will increase, naturally there will be economic growth in the country. Okay, but next one. Now coming next one, here bringing balanced growth. The balanced growth, we mean that different regions, different sectors of the country should record economic growth. I mean, the government will make sure that all the fields in the country should be attain some growth. Industrial growth, agricultural growth, infrastructure development, education, health, every field. So here balanced growth, we mean that different regions and sectors of the country should record economic growth simultaneously, all together. It's not that only one field should be developed all the time. One field should be allocated more and more money in the budget. It's wrong. The other fields will be remain backward. So the government should ensure that the allocation of the money should be in such a manner that every sector should be developed. Okay, next one. Removing inequalities in income distribution. The fourth one. Removing inequalities in the income distribution is another objective of budget. That means to bring equality. In order to bring equality, in India, some people are rich, some are poor. There is income inequalities, differences are there. Yes. So to bring equalities in income distribution, in order to bring equality in income distribution, the government must ensure that the people at the bottom, I mean below society, the people at the bottom of the population pyramid, I mean poor people, should progress faster. I mean the government will prepare budget in such a manner that it will reduce income inequalities in the country. It helps in developing the bottom class people in the society. I mean the government wants to develop those people equal to the rich people. Okay, so they should progress faster than the people at the higher level. A budget can be useful instrument to achieve this goal. I mean, through budget only we can reduce income inequalities, we can reduce the gap in rich and poor, and we can uplift the bottom class in the society. Next one, persistent price stability. Price stability means of bringing the prices in under control. Price stability implies a gradual and a stable rise in the general price level that acts as a catalyst for the economy instead of what? Volatile price fluctuation. I mean, budget always helps in what? Bringing the prices in stability. Otherwise the prices goes on higher and higher and the common people will suffer a lot. So the government will prepare budget in such a manner that the prices in the market for all the goods and services will be controlled. They'll impose more money to those goods which are harmful to the people, which are luxuries. But they'll decrease the price of those goods which are essential for all the common people. So price stability can be brought only through the policy budget in the country. The last one is creating employment opportunities. Another important objective of the government budget may be what? Quoted as the creation of more and more employment opportunities in the economy. Okay. To achieve this objective, a budget can be extremely useful as employment generation in generally both the cause and effect of economic growth in the country. Therefore, any budgetary step that promotes growth may also result in creation of more employment opportunities. Now, coming to last topic, components. Components of budgets. There are two components of budgets are there. Or in budget there are two components. Okay. One is revenue budget. Second is a capital budget. How many components are there? Two components. Revenue budget and capital budget. So, let us listen students carefully. Various components of government budget can be divided into various components. I mean, number of components are there. So, various components of the government budget can be divided or into two categories, namely revenue budget and capital budget. Now, what is meant by revenue budget? Or what is meant by revenue budget or budget? Yes, revenue budget. Revenue budget shows the estimated and planned revenue receipts. Revenue budget shows the estimated and planned revenue receipts and expenditure of the government. I repeat, revenue budget is one of the component of budget. So this revenue budget shows the estimated and planned revenue receipts and expenditure of the government. A revenue budget contains details of revenue, nature, expenditure and revenue nature receipts of the government. These are in the form of routine, regular, recurring expenditures and income of the government. Next one, capital budget. What is capital budget? This is another component of government budget. The capital budget of the government is a statement of estimated capital receipts and capital expenditure. There, previous one, revenue receipts and revenue expenditure statement. Here, capital receipts and capital expenditure. Okay, capital budget is defined as the capital budget of the government is a statement of estimated capital receipts and capital expenditure. Capital budget shows capital nature and receipts and expenditure of the government which are generally not in normal routine for the government. Here revenue budget is routine, reoccurring, normal, whereas capital budget is not routine nor normal. So the sum total, I mean adding the sum total of revenue budget and the capital budget constitutes the overall budget of the government. So when you add revenue budget, when you add capital budget, you will sum up that one both. So the total statement, the overall document of revenue and capital budget together is called what? The overall budget of the country. So students, we have covered all these three topics. Hope you have understood the introductory part of this and these three topics of budget. So please go through the textbook once again or the reference books We will come with some new topics from the same unit in the coming video. Till then, take care. Thank you.